Hey guys, and welcome back. So I've just been sent a trailer for The New Warriors. It's a comic book series by Marvel, and I read a few of the older comic books way back when I was a child, but I never read many of them because I could never get a hold of the first few issues. So I'm really excited to see where they go with this.
My name is Daniel Kibblesmith, and I am the writer of New Warriors #1. I got interested in the New Warriors later. I remember seeing them on the shelf when I was a kid, reading their comics in the 90s, and just feeling like they were too cool for me. Like I was intimidated by, Night Thrasher had a blade coming out of his wrist.
Comics were never cool.
Buff. They were all the edgy characters from the 90s, as the cover said. New Warriors, I thought, were really interesting characters because they occupy this really cool space. They're forever young, but they've now been around for 30 years. My editors on the previous books I'd done, like Loki and Black Panther vs. Deadpool, asked if I'd be interested in doing a New Warriors tie-in that actually poses them as the authority figures in this conflict instead of the rebels. And
That is
really
pretty cool.
Liked the tension of that. So because the New Warriors are the authority figures in this story, they have to be mentoring new Warriors who are under 21 and subject to the laws that triggered the outlawed event. This new law is making it illegal to be a vigilante under the age of 21. The artist on New Warriors #1
Why under
is
21?
Luciano Vecchio. He designed all
Why not
the
just make
New
vigilantes
Warriors and gave them
illegal
costumes
anyway?
that felt as modern as the New Warriors costumes to sort of feel classic and instantly familiar. So the first character that we're introduced to is Trailblazer. She's a group home and foster kid who is volunteering at a senior center when this mysterious threat shows up and Night Thrasher runs to the rescue. And because she helps him, she ends up in the crosshairs of this new outlawed law. And she inherited from her grandfather a magic backpack of divine origin. We picked the name Trailblazer because she's somebody who charges into action. She knows that she can do some good with this, mysterious gift that she's been given. Screen time is a internet kid taken to its sort of logical conclusion. As a youth, he was exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas, and that has patched him permanently into the World
Internet
Wide Web.
gas.
The word screen time is only ever used in a sort of restrictive sense. And because we're doing a story about teenage rebels, a lot of the names are about teens fighting against labels that are put on them. So with screen time, we liked the idea that he has infinite screen time. Snowflake and Safe Space are the twins, and their names are very similar to screen time. It's this idea that these are terms that get thrown around on the internet that they don't see as derogatory, to take those words and kind of wear them as badges of honor. Safe Space is kind of a big, burly, sort of stereotypical jock. He can create force fields, but he can only trigger them if he's protecting somebody else.
Jock.
Snowflake is non-binary.
Oh,
and
no.
goes by they, them. Snowflake has the power to generate individual crystallized snowflake-shaped shurikens. The
No.
connotations of the word snowflake in our culture right now are something fragile. And this is a character who is turning it into something sharp. Snowflake is the person who has the more offensive power, and Safe Space is the person who has the more defensive power. The idea was that they would mirror each other and complement each other. B negative is the goth kid. When he was a baby, he got a rogue life-saving blood transfusion, we assume from Michael Morbius, and now he has a very similar look and very similar vampire powers. B negative also is obviously a pun. It's a blood type, which is great for a vampire character, and it's also a proud ownership of the idea of having a bad attitude. I want the
No.
people who read our New Warriors
No.
to feel all of the excitement that they felt if they read the 90s one.
I
We
wouldn't.
want it to have big, colorful characters, personality clashes, romance.
I don't feel that excitement.
Diverse cast, which is something that the New Warriors titles have always strived to make a priority. Every New Warriors comic has always felt like a reflection of the year that it came out. And I don't think we're worried about being dated. I think we're way more interested about it being now.
I think they've missed the point, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Hate it. Hate it. I have a lot of opinions on this, and if you are easily offended, I'd say leave now. If you're not, then I'm sorry, this might be a long rant, it might not be, but I have quite a lot to say about it. I'm going to start off where he started off. He said that he felt the comics were so cool, and yeah, I thought that they were pretty cool, but they were always hidden. When I was a child, if you read comics or watched anime or were into anything geeky or nerdy, you would get bullied for it, like straight up bullied. I think I might have misinterpreted what he said, but he pretty much said that it was too cool for him to read, but he read them anyway. Like, no, nobody ever thought, oh, the comics are too cool to read. Yeah, the characters in there might have been really cool and you might have related them to them, and even more if you were getting bullied, meaning that you'd read more. But I kept mine as a really, really, really deep secret that I locked away for a long time, and I did carry on reading them in utmost quiet and disguise, really. But yeah, skipping on from that, I know a lot of you might say that this comic is not made for me. Darkness, Witchblade, X-Men, Rogue, Alien vs Predator, Spawn. There's a lot of comics that were not made for me, especially as a child. And I don't care, I read them anyway. I don't think that comics now are made for males or females or non-binary. I think comics are a lot more mainstream now, so comics are made for everybody. So you can't go and say, oh, it's not made for you, because back then comics were made with a gender in mind. So I'm just going to put that out there, that I don't care if it's made for me or not. I'm giving my opinion. On to the characters. Trailblazer. I don't understand. I just don't understand her character. Yeah, it's cool that she visits and helps out with the elderly and stuff, and she's from a foster home, but I don't understand what she's doing in there. All the other characters seem to have special abilities, and she has a backpack that was given to her. Now, before you say anything, in comics like Witchblade, Sarah Pizzini gets the amulet. Now, the amulet, which is the Witchblade, goes and finds a rightful owner, somebody who's worthy to own the Witchblade. It's not just given, it's not passed on to the next person, to the next person. At one point, Sarah does pass it on to Danny, but the amulet does end up making its way back to Sarah. So it'll always hunt down who the artifact thinks is the best choice for it to wield. Same as Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange didn't get given the cape. The cape hunted and found him rather than him just taking it. Like, it's so aggravating that she's just given this power and she seems like one of the team leaders in this group. I don't understand what she's doing there. Next was Screen Time, and yeah, he was a pretty okay character. I don't have many qualms with him. His outfit is fine, considering he's like a cyber character. But I just think that the internet gas is completely laughable. It sounds so stupid. And the whole concept of this comic book is just, it should have been released on the 1st of April as an April Fool's joke. I don't like it. Snowflake and, oh, well, let's go into Snowflake first. Snowflake. There's so much wrong about that character. You don't have to call somebody a snowflake and make them non-binary and make them black and make them, like, there's so much going on with that character. It feels like they're a walking, talking stereotype, and I've got friends who are non-binary, and I don't think that they would enjoy being represented as a snowflake. Even though you're trying to push the boundaries of making it not an insult, I think it's still an insulting word currently, and I feel like if I was to pick up and read the comic as a child now, I would probably go and call my friend who identifies as non-binary a snowflake, because I wouldn't see anything wrong with that. I'd see it as strong. And that would cause a massive rift, because not everybody reads comic and not everybody would know what the hell you're talking about. Also, I don't feel like they should make who you are your walking, talking personality, your stereotype. Like, I just don't understand why they've done that. Why have they made a stereotype a person? Like, I feel like that character won't have any personality apart from being non-binary. I just... Oh, and can summon snowflakes. Like, it's not very original. It's not very now, because a lot of comic books and series we have now, they're quite in-depth, they're quite advanced, they're quite technological. There's more to it than just puns, and I hate it so much. Safe space. They called him a jock. Like, when I think of jock, I don't think of somebody who's wearing pink and is dressed the way he's dressed. It's like calling Peter Parker a jock. He's like, Peter Parker is geeky, he's nerdy, he's very smart, but yeah, he's quite muscular when he gets his powers, but still, I can't understand where they're coming from with this. I think his powers are quite unique, and I think that it could be pretty good, but I just hate the fact that they're all named after what they are, not on, what... I can't really describe it, but I just hate it. I hate it so much that the non-binary character is called Snowflake, and I hate the fact that the twin is called just safe space, or oh my god, I can't remember his name, but it's just awful. It's so bad. And lastly, we have B negative, a pun. He is a goth character, a broody goth, and I hate it. You can have happy goths, you can get sad goths. Goth characters don't have to look like a vampire. They don't have to brood. Like, it's so stereotypical. Every single character is very stereotypical. There's like no different personalities with any of these characters. Like, they're all different personalities from each other, but as far as stereotypes go, no, they don't have a separate personality for their stereotype, and I hate it. I just hate the whole series. I'm getting my words tied up because I'm just so angry and annoyed, and I don't think that this is inclusionary. I think that this is offensive. I don't like it. I'm not part of the LGBTQ plus community, but I don't care. I'm saying this, that I find it offensive, and not because they have a non-binary character in there. I find it offensive that they're calling a non-binary character a snowflake, and I find it that they're calling like a jock who wears pink safe space, and it just no. Stop. Marvel, what are you doing? Your comics used to be so good. Your New Warriors used to be very powerful, and they all had their own different quirks, but you couldn't look at them and be like, oh yeah, she's gonna be quite like promiscuous. No, you couldn't do that. They were all different. They had their own personalities, who sometimes they did reflect what it looked like on the outside, sometimes it didn't. I'm just so angry with Marvel. Just no, stop, please. Anyway, that is just my thoughts and opinions, and I hope that I haven't offended too many of you, and I'm hoping that I got my words correct, because I just try to be very PC, and I don't think that I could with this trailer. I feel like they brought out the worst in me, so I'm gonna go now. So thanks very much for watching. Bye guys!